and social challenges, we are rediscovering the importance of reliable spatial data and available geoservices. The common approaches and guidelines such as the integrated geospatial information framework developed by the UN experts and as well as the exchange of our experience. So let us develop this geoinformation and technologies and policies in a similar direction. It's very important nowadays. Thus, digitalization of data and unification of informational resources, and also like an integration between the system, it is a current priority for many agencies, and it's very difficult, I know it by myself. At the same time, each country determines its top priority tasks according to their context and their priorities for the countries. In the case with the response to terrible COVID-19, we witnessed lots of interesting, practically valuable projects. However, many countries managed to promptly create services that help them to use geodata to reflect up-to-date information about their medical instruction, to monitor social distancing, and etc. So, for example, Armenian colleagues developed a digital map using cadastral data. Thematic maps and information from interested mainstreams for tracing infected people. In the United Kingdom, new approach to data collection were applied, and information about the spread of infection was collected by the means of crowdsourcing. In Ireland, the GeoHive Coordination Response Group was established, and this group created several special services based on the state geospatial database of Ireland. So today's speakers will also present their examples of their technologies and some administrative solutions, and they also will talk about current prioritizes. And it's very important to talk open, because we all of us, we share the knowledge, we share our practice, and we have the same priorities in our work. So our speakers tell us where the pandemic has affected these prioritizes, and if its economic consequences influenced their plans for further development of geoinformation and for the systems with this data. So representatives of Serbia, Belarus, and Russia will present their reports. And we also have prominent experts from international organizations present today, and I'm very happy. It's Dr. Hartmut Müller, professor at the University of Applied Sciences of Mainz, Germany, chairman of a Commission of International Federation of Surveyors, and Stefan Remic, a representative of the Group of Earth Observation Secretariat. They will take part of the panel discussion as also. Thank you very much, colleagues. And now, dear colleagues, I wish to I wish all of us very fruitful work today, and I want to present the first speaker. With my pleasure, Konstantin Litvintsov. He's an acting director of Federal Cadastral Chamber of Rosregister, and he will deliver a report of geospatial data and cadastre in the Russian Federation and their support to the measures for economic growth. Konstantin has been actively participating in the creation of creation and upgrade of the real property cadastre in Russia for over 24 years. And for 4 years, Konstantin has been a member of the Bureau. So also participates in the work of the party as an expert. So, Konstantin, I wish you good luck. Please go ahead and tell us what we have here in Russia. Yes.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Надеюсь, меня хорошо.
I hope you can hear me well today.
We're currently trying to show the presentation, to show the screen. Is it technically possible right now? Colleagues.
Видимо, не слышно.
Probably the people cannot hear me. Oh, now you can hear me. That's good.
Konstantin, you have to be in the Russian channel so the interpreter can hear.
Yes.
And share screen now.
Сейчас или это не то? Надо отсюда, да?
So I have to start from here, right?
Share screen, yeah. Excellent, excellent. It's okay now.
Видите, да? Очень хорошо.
Oh, you can see it now. That's really good.
Спасибо.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear colleagues. I would thank the working group and my colleagues for the opportunity to speak on such an important issue for the whole world. My presentation will focus on the importance of the geographic information systems and its services, including operating in the COVID-19 pandemic. I will also tell you about the mechanism for data exchange between the government agencies that we are using in Russia, and most of my talk I will be about web service, because today their development has become a priority task for the Russian state authorities, including Rosregister. I would like to start with a public cadastre map web service, which is posted on the Rosregister website in 2010. The public cadastral maps are intended for the use by the general public. Public cadastral maps are maintained in the electronic form and are placed on the website of the Rights Registration Authority for free viewing. And this information may be used for non-commercial purposes only. Currently, the public cadastral map contains data on more than 61 million land plots and over 44 million building structures and construction projects in progress. So what information is publicly available under the law? First of all, semantic and graphical information from the real estate register. The first is the type of property. That is a land plot, a building, or an object of incomplete construction, and so on. The second is the cadastral numbers. Next, the category of land plots to which the land plot is assigned information on the form of ownership, cadastral value, and a number of other key characteristics of the property. In addition, the map shows the boundaries, in particular state administrative territory boundaries of territories with special status. These include, for example, forestries, protected areas, and the like. The map also shows the boundaries of the cadastral division. What else? You can also find land plots on a map that the authorities have put for the auction for sale. It is possible to see plots free from the rights of third parties and on which there are no capital construction units. You can imagine how important this information is for construction and business development. But this, of course, is not a complete list of information because I'm saving our time. Please know that the map contains the most up-to-date information. We update the information on a daily basis. Let me briefly speak about the possibilities of the public cadastral map. First, the user can find the unit by cadastral number, address, and direct on the map using navigation tools. Secondly, you can view the so-called thematic maps. These are maps generated for a specific purpose and show a specific set of information. You can see how the map allocates land plot depending on the type of permitted use, and so on. The principle of thematic maps, I think, is clear for you. Third, the semantic and graphic information of the map can be overlaid on the map-based or satellite imagery. There are also other functions, export images for printing length and area measurement. There is no doubt that the public cadastral map is the most popular web service of Rosregister and an important source of information. The number of users simultaneously connected to the card exceeds 5.5 thousand, and the web service is used by approximately 165,000 people a day. Let's now look at how the use of the public cadastral map has been affected by the pandemic factor. Let's see, over 8 million people used the map in 2019, and over 9,300,000 people used this map in 2020. Such a big increase by 15% cannot be explained only by the usual annual increase in interest in web services. We believe that the coronavirus pandemic has increased the need for Russians to receive government services electronically, and as well as the interest in out-of-town real estate. One of the most important tasks for Rosregister is to create the spatial data infrastructure of the Russian Federation. What do we need to do? We need to create a unified electronic cartographic framework should be created and kept up to date, can be used by authorities, businesses, and individuals. This information system creates, monitors, and updates the map framework, including in the form of the web-based map services. We also need to develop the so-called Internet show window, which will also enable the use of services and data from these sources. The information in the electronic cartographic-based system comes from the state special data collection in Russia. They come in the form of federal and regional ones. We also receive information from various agencies to update the map base. The most important role here is, of course, played by the Unified State Register of the Real Estate Domain Aggregator of Information on Real Estate. With this system are used in daily work by public authorities, by local governments, and this information is needed for planning of urban settlements, development, investment, and economic activities. I would like to draw your attention once again to the functions of the digital geo-platform and its web services, because it helps us to collect information from various sources at the state level. we can also open the access to this available information not only to the authorities, but also to citizens and commercial businesses. And I would like to say a special word about the creation of network of genetic stations. Today, unfortunately, genetic stations are scattered local network, so integrating them into a unified federal network will ensure reliable condition monitoring and improve genetic accuracy, because the task of this work is really important. This year we started actually developing this system, and next year we will create a data center, and we also provide this measurement information online. And now I'd like to tell you about an interesting experiment that we started in 2021. The Russian government has decided to create a unified information resource on land and real estate. This digital platform is needed to integrate land and real estate data contained in several government information resources. The objectives of this experiment are increasing the reliability, quality, and completeness of information, filling the unified state register of real estate through crowdsourcing mechanism, involvement of unused real estate and economic turnover, simplification of the procedure for search and allocation of land plots, reducing redundant operations in the work of the authorities, effective delivery of public services, increasing budget revenues from taxes, implementation of the technology for spatial and semantic data intelligent analysis for work automation, support for investment and social projects. The platform I'm talking about, which will appear in the course of this experiment, includes several web services. One of them is the Earth is Simple. And this figurative expression captures well the essence of this web service. In Russia today, unfortunately, the process of preparing a site for the implementation of any implementation project is still bureaucratic. But these difficulties inevitably arise for businesses and individuals simply because the complexity of the state structure. In addition, individuals often lack their own skills and knowledge in such a specific area as cadastral activity. The new services eliminates these barriers. Thanks to this service, anyone will be able to choose a land plot from those registered in the cadastral register. It will also be able to independently form the boundaries of the land plot by drawing its contour on the map. In addition, the service will digitalize the business process of granting the sites. For example, authorities will be able to make decisions online and conduct tenders and auctions with an electronic trading platform. Another web service I would like to mention is land for construction. Its concept is very similar to the previous service, Earth is Simple, only it is specialized over one does the process automated here in obtaining approvals, and the information will be simple and fast, so the investors and the construction companies constructing private houses and block houses will get information on available land plots, and they can calculate the price and the future duties and taxes. Another web service analysis of the state and use of land. It is designed to automate determination of actual land use. Can also be used to identify how land conditions and uses are changing. We will also Earth remote sensing data from space and other information systems will be used for this purpose. The main functions are the determination of land use boundaries, actual use of land plots, availability of capital construction facilities, the identification of land plots without officially established borders, identification of unauthorized changes to real estate units and land plot boundaries, automatic detection of changes in land condition and use recognition of different terrain contours and units, and visualization of information in graphical form. Dear colleagues, I've just told you about the current services and future projects we are planning to implement based on our real estate data. However, the potential of the geospatial information system is actually something what we can really use in the future. It can be used for different economic and social areas. I can really identify the following areas of development. First of all, this is the creation of intellectual smart maps with the visualizing the data, and the information system can be used as the big data aggregators for the advanced decisions, and it can also be used as a simple information exchange system. And the main advantage is using geographic system is the ability to monitor the situation and the effectiveness of measures to combat threats in real time. We consider the second important advantage to be the easy exchange of public masses of information, including at the interstate level. The events of the past year have shown us the global threats pandemic easily penetrate national borders, and the secret of successful countering these threats lies in the cooperative efforts in the international level. It changes our understanding of the processes taking place in the world and affecting its information. From this point of view, the role of UN institutions, including the WPLA, able to coordinate efforts to create special geoinformation systems, cannot be overestimated. I consider the events of the past year to be an important lesson for all countries in the world. We have a common task to help as much as we can in fight against global threats like COVID-19. Therefore, I encourage you to actively discuss and share your experience on my presentation. Thank you for your attention and wish you all good health and be negative.
Okay, thank you, Konstantin. Let me add that Rosregister considers important principles for the development of geoinformation services, and their ecosystem, application, and compliance with the expectations of users and various levels. So we hope these principles will help us to use our resources for prompt creation of ad hoc services in the future. So Konstantin, it was very good presentation. Thank you very much. And I hope we have a lot of questions for Konstantin. So please, we can use the chat. Okay, so I tried to use the computer. So no questions for right now, maybe later on the panel discussion. Okay, Konstantin, I don't see, I see now in the computer and I don't see any questions right now. Okay, thank you so much, and let's move on because we have very limited time. So with my big pleasure, our next speaker is Marina Litreeva. She's the head of the Department of Geoinformation Systems of the National Cadastral Agency of Belarus. And Marina is a big professional graduated in geoinformation systems. And I hope we will see each other together very soon in the front. And she is responsible for maintaining 3 basic state information resources of Belarus and the unified register of administrative, territorial and territorial units, the register and addresses, the register of streets and roads names, as well as for the implementation of innovative projects in the field of geographical information systems. Along with her main job, is engaged in the technical of geoinformation system and universities. So Marina's report today is dedicated to the use of geoinformation systems and the cadastral data during after the pandemic. So dear Marina, the floor is yours, please. We will very happy to see and to hear your report. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elena. Thank you so much for introducing me and your kind wishes. Hello, dear colleagues. Let's start. Yes, GIS and cadastral data. I will speak Russian. Is it okay? Can I see my presentation? Все верно Елена сказала. Меня зовут Марина Литреева, представляю Республику Беларусь, Национальное кадастровое агентство.
My name is Marina Litvieva. I represent the GIS and Cadastral National Cadastral Agency of the Republic of Belarus. First of all, I would like to share more information how Belarus is feeling right now during this complicated pandemic time. First of all, I'll give you a little bit of statistics, and then I will provide you information what kind of measures are currently taken by the National Cadastral Agency in order to bring the country back to normal life. How the cadastral data and how the information system can be used here, how we can help our country. The National Cadastral Agency have been working for, as was mentioned by Ellen, we are currently operate 3 basic information resources. We also do the GIS planning. We also provide e-resource services, also the real estate registration, and also we do the land valuation as well. As for the COVID-19 in Belarus, as of May 2021, we are a little bit different to other countries, even to Russian Federation or Europe, because no lockdown was actually announced last year and even this year. So we were not sitting at home, so we kept working in our office every single day. And the only so-called lockdown measure which we faced was the remote working from home, but it was depending on employees' wishes and on the employers what they wanted and how they can see the situation. At the moment, almost 4% of population actually experienced COVID-19, and now can also look at the official statistics on the screen, the number of cases and the number of deaths. We certainly had also some measures imposed. The borders, for example, are closed and the people are not able to move freely throughout the country. However, we have a very promising event this year because Belarus started the vaccination campaign this year, and you can see that a significant number of people have already been vaccinated. So they went through the first and the second step of vaccination. As for the cadastral data, GIS system, and other geoinformation systems during the COVID-19 time, I would like to tell you actually more about the effects we actually experienced during the COVID-19 or something what we took into account and what kind of measures we actually proposed or have already implemented as the response to the COVID-19. This is something what Konstantin have already mentioned about the growing interest to the out of the town real estate. That's true. And we also look actually how many times the people actually go to the public cadastral map. And this is the real estate agencies or people searching for the out of the town real estate units in order to find an opportunity to be actually in a kind of self-lockdown or even actually to do their own gardening if they really like it. And our register of real estate can really help here because you can also see the land plots, the boundaries, and because the out of the town real estate, is interesting for the people when it is located next to forest, next to water resource, or even in some restricted areas. So in this case, we have also additional information in our register for where the protection zones are. I'm talking about the forestries, about water resources, and how the land are allowed to be used. And also we have also some historical and heritage units as well. There are also people who are actually willing to buy land plots and to pay the land tax as well. And at this stage, the cadastral agencies provide information about the cadastral values and how the land tax can be calculated. The information on real estate contracts are placed in the price register, which is also a part of our real estate and land cadastre, and the address information, which is also has a geographic connection. I'm talking about the X and Y coordinates of every single real estate unit. And it also helps people and agencies to make the choice fast if you like to buy a land plot. Another thing which is currently becoming even more popular, we're talking about the sites which cannot be really visited due to the limitations and restrictions on movement throughout the country, because the interactive maps can really provide the so-called street view. So you can get images, you can get videos of those sites you probably used to visit in the past, or those you would like to visit, but you are not really allowed to do it right now due to the COVID-19 measures. And sometimes we are not able to visit these sites. And here we have also the Earth remote sensing data, which can help us. These are usually drone imagery, which is usually geographically connected to the sites of interest for travelers or for visits for other people. And it's with you also for Belarus. We also have a register of streets. This is like a location of units, and this is a kind of vector graphics which can be connected to the traveler's search, even the traveler stays at home. And the next position is the stay at home position. We already heard these words so many times that you need to stay at home, but we keep getting these services. These are e-services, remote services provided by the land and real estate cadastre. Okay, so this is information from the different registers, and also you can see this gentleman with the information. This is something what you can get now remote, because this COVID-19 pandemic also gave a significant help or significant for the development of remote services you can get out of home. And the next fact is the medical facilities. Because the situation our ACPs have been for the last year are quite difficult, and the real estate register and the population help them a lot, because the register population is maintained by the Minister of Internal Affairs in Belarus. And it also helps the medical facilities and the HCPs to actually cope with the pandemic, because it is easy now to register the NDU. It also actually to account for the family members, for the people who are in a lockdown. They are not allowed to go outside because they are infected. And it is also quite easy to identify the location of lonely elderlies, especially on those who are actually at a higher risk. And the statistical background on the cases is the public cadastral maps and any other interactive maps with the address information. And we also have the information how the ambulance vehicles move throughout the cities and streets. It's something what we can get out of this register, because all the maps have geospatial connection. The next thing we identify, this is the logistics and delivery, because now we have a significant higher amount of goods delivered. These are even the food which is delivered to the individuals every day, and also the industrial goods as well. And the address register was used as a really golden tool, because we didn't really, at our cadastral agency, didn't expect this kind of use. But in 2020, in 2021, all delivery services operating in our country started using this information and address data. And it also increased the efficiency of their operation, and also we got a very good feedback from them how this delivery service used this address information and their activities. And the next pool are the postal items. For example, the Belarusian mail and other courier services, because these postal deliveries were really demanded during the COVID-19, because the amount of postal shipments increased significantly, and the National Cadastral Agency also provided the cadastral data about the postal or zip codes. So we managed actually to provide the whole geodata about the postal or zip codes for the whole country. So you can really identify the zip code for even every single building you would like to send your item to. And you can also enter this zip code without any mistakes in a very quick period of time. And this is how this information is presented on a public cadastral map and is available to any who is interested in it. This is one of the innovations or novelties in 2020 we got in Belarus for the cadastral data. These cadastral data are not only presented on the public cadastral map, but also available in our real estate and land cadastre. And the next thing I would like to mention, something what we didn't have in Belarus, we didn't have any lockdown at all, but we were ready for this, for a lockdown, because here we have a register of administrative territorial units, which also has a geospatial parameter, and it also connected to every single unit, to every single settlement, every single town and city. And this information is getting updated almost every day. It is available for all the authorities on the public cadastral map. So we didn't have this kind of experience of a lockdown. The other countries experienced the lockdown because the people are really not really restricted in their movement. But I think this was a very good fundament for the case of lockdown and identify where the people are. The next thing I would like to mention is the change of climate and environment before and after COVID-19. No, we all say our planet became even cleaner because the people started moving less, the people stopped flying as often as in the past. So the people, even we can breathe now better than in the past. And these statistics we would like to collect in the next future, and we'd like to show how the geoinformation system can be used for the public cadastral map. And the source of information will be the cadastres of natural resources. We have 11 cadastres of natural resources, of atmospheric air, of pollutions, of soil, of water, and so on. And now we can also use this cadastre for the geospatial data, and we started collecting this information now. Another indicator which was brought by COVID-19, I'd like to share with you. This is the transmission of cases, case statistics, and through the media, how it is spread throughout the country. And the only good source of information are the mapping data, different diagrams, different maps, how the situation changes, and the information background were the cadastres and the cadastral maps, public cadastral map. And also would like to mention how to aggregate these data about cadastres, because we had to gather information about the country, about all the units, about people's location, about people's movement in a very short time, in order to identify the burden on healthcare providers. And certainly we had to standardize this information, to collect this information as fast as possible. And the only response is here the creation of spatial data infrastructure. And their colleagues, if you really deal with the NSDI, with the geoinformatics, and as I that NSDI is the answer here. And we can really are able to coordinate our activities here to be as efficient as possible. And we will use the NSDI to collect information for the purposes which became really acute due to COVID-19 pandemic. That's all from my side. Thank you very much for your attention. And I would like you to stay really healthy and safe. And as a geoinformation specialist, I really want not to create a map of pandemic, but the map of happiness. And it's something what we can really also show on the map in a good way.
Thank you so much for your informative report and very energetic report. I'm so happy to hear you, and I hope we will see each other soon, not on VKS, by the real life. Reality. I really miss this communication nowadays. So first of all, thank you. It was very great report, and your visualization of the connection between your data and services and the fields of their application is especially interesting, and also interesting for us. I'm a moderator right now, but it's also for me the platform, the unique platform is also my pain, and I wish to learn your experience in this case. So it will be very interesting for us to deep inside analyze how it's work like. So our Belarusian colleagues have made the significant progress and towards of digitalization of the spatial data and their integration on a single platform. It's really interesting. So also, we know that their experience of establishing interaction with the other government agencies is extremely interesting, since it helps to avoid the duplication of work and optimize government costs for production of the spatial data. So it's really, really workful. I see the web chat, but there is some questions there. Marina, do you see these questions from Hakim?
I can see you.
Yeah, okay. Can you answer for that? About the standards, unique.
If I have time, I'll answer. Yes,
but very shortly, please, Maria, because we have a limited time.
It's clear. Да, я могу ответить. Спасибо за вопрос. В Беларуси...
Yes, I can answer this question. Thank you very much for your question. Belarus will have the new amendments to the law on data and geoinformation activity. We will also have the new definition of NSDI and data providers, and we are looking forward that it will be so. This is actually our legislative working plan, and we also have new standards after this law.
I have a lot of questions, but I will ask you later, okay? Because we have a limited time, and I want with pleasure to present the third report. Thank you, Maria. It's a geospatial information in response to COVID-19 pandemic. It's a Serbian experience, and it will be presented by Darko Vucecic. Sorry if it's wrong translation, but it's Darko, if you don't mind. So Darko holds the position of a head of the Center of Excellence of Geospatial Information Management in the Republic Geodetic Authority of Serbia. He is also actively involved in the activities of the international expert community. Previously, Darko was a member of the management board of Eurogeographics. So now I hand over to Mr. Vucecic. Please go on.
Sorry, just to switch. Я учил русский язык 8 лет, але не выучил.
I have been learning Russian language for 8 years. Darko, your pronunciation in Russian is excellent.
Thank the organizer for having me here. I would present our work here, and what is now very clear from this perspective in Serbia is that COVID-19 has accelerated digitalization. My idea today is to explain through a few very practical examples how geospatial data information and innovation can lead to benefits to the country and citizens during the COVID-19 geospatial platform in Serbia, the supporting legal framework or organizational setup, but also lessons learned and measures taken to eliminate existing barriers. So the name of the institution is Republic Geodetic Authority, but we are not dealing only about geodesy. We are a special governmental organization which performs state survey, maintains of real estate cadastre, and management of geospatial data on the national level. Basically, all the data and information necessary for efficient government and important for the private sector development, we are in charge for their maintaining and delivering this. Big potential. This is big potential for all of us, but also big responsibility. What is the key fact here is that my institution is the National Spatial Data Infrastructure Coordinator and Inspire National Contact Point. And thanks to this NSDI development during the last 3 years, the Republic of Serbia and the Republic Geodetic Authority managed to respond quickly to the growing need of information from the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. So we heard how, for example, address register, one of the key data sets, are very crucial. Were very crucial in Belarus, but also in Russian example. And let's bring back in 2016 and to talk about the condition of these data in Serbia. In Serbia in 2016, more than 500,000 citizens lived in the street without house number. They didn't have proper addresses, and more than 6,500 streets were not registered. This is just estimation at the time. So that prevent any work on digitalization at the national level. What is also, let's talk about real estate cadastre. We noticed that the more than 4.5 million objects in Serbia were not officially registered in cadastre. They were informal. And this preventing efficient urban and spatial planning, leading to the wrong decision, accumulating problems more and more over time. And we had 5 attempts to solve this issue with legalization from 90s until now. And all attempts failed because decision makers had wrong data. It was estimated at the beginning that was only a few 100,000 illegal objects, then million, then 1.5, and so on and so on. And all decisions were actually based on this wrong information. And we, at that time, didn't manage to solve this very important issue. And the third part that I would like to emphasize here is the legal framework. And it was completely analog. What you see right now, this is our business processes of single apply at cadastre office for citizens, private companies, or public agency. Every single line of these business processes were according to the law or by laws, some exceptions and so on and so on. And it is a situation in all sectors in Republic of Serbia. And this situation can't be digitized. There is no technical solution to support this situation. You know, simply automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency, but automation applied to inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency and lead to a madness, like you see. So until recently, the land administration system was a generator of significant challenges for citizens, government, and municipal authorities in the private sector. When we talked about this, we, thanks to our friends from World Bank and FAO, specifically Rumiana, which is with us today, we started some NSDI diagnostic tool to see what is the condition of our national spatial data infrastructure. In conclusion, although we invested quite much in the technology and solution for geospatial, ugly truth is that nobody used it. That was a situation that needs to be recognized and accepted. Urgent and systematic reaction was needed. So we put RGA strategy in 2016, and we predicted that the role of institution like Republic Geodetic Authority can be considerably changed in the 21st century. And our main goal is that RGA will no longer be a traditional register of properties and now service as a national platform for sharing geospatial data of the public sector for economic and healthy living. Our guide was integrated geospatial information framework, which we accepted and implemented thanks to our partners from World Bank and FAO. And after 3 years, the improvement of the usage of these geospatial data were very significantly improved. Why I talked about this? This is just introduction, because when we started to change all these things, we in April 2018 the new law were promulgated, and NSDI and NGA became an integrated geospatial system that provides comprehensive identification. We simplified the business processes, and you can see right now on the right part of your screens the simplified and optimized business processes, which are in the end digitized and available end-to-end digital. We also introduced new services, e-front desk and these services. Establishment of this electronic front desk speeded up transaction and reduces contacts between parties and government bodies while preserving documentation security and legal certainty. During the last 6 years, the time from processing of property transaction in cadastre has been reduced from 49 to around 5 working days. And this achievement was very huge and very important during the COVID. Also, some unnecessary papers were eliminated, and these online communication were introduced, and that was the mandatory for public sector bodies. And that estimated that since the July of 2018, it was more than 6 million hours in queue was saved for our citizens. To be honest, my institution was very known in Serbia as a big queues in our front desk and physical offices. Right now, it's not the case. What is very important, in turn, very important during the COVID time, it was price register and mass valuation. Price register has already been developed, and the system provides segregated data to the business and the public users to support the information-based decision-making process. Mass valuation is something that we are right now introducing, and this is the system to determine the tax base for real estate taxation on real market grounds and in accordance with the constitutional rights and the citizens. Simply, this is the foundation of the taxation reform in Serbia. So what resulted during the COVID time? Immediately when the lockdown in the middle of March started, all RGA employees were able to start to work remotely from home. And that was very efficient way how we managed to reduce, and I think that it was zero, and our employees were actually affected by COVID at the time. We introduced some new services and improved the existing ones, such as e-cadastre, e-front desk. All these, we introduced new online support, online chat app with the RGA Info Center, and in order to citizens to show them how to and to help them. Also, the focus was at sales price register, and every week during the lockdown, we provided to the public, but also to the government, very detailed weekly reports on real estate market condition. And these measures from RGA helped our decision makers, Ministry of Finance and other involved party, to take the measures which helped real estate market to recover very fast. And what are the result? The result was that you can see that from 2019, that was during the lockdown, it was more than minus 80% decrease of the number of transactions. But only in 1.5 months, thanks to this optimization of the process online, the real estate market managed to recover. And in the end, 2020 was the equally good year as 2019. And it was the proof that our reform and our digitalization were very successful. So regarding geospatial infrastructure, as you know, the fundamental data sets according to UN was these 17. Most of them are actually in RGA, but basically it's not only RGA. If in 2016, if you want to access those data with your system, it was not possible because it was totally not interoperable. So that's why we introduced GeoSerbia. It's a geospatial platform which is one central hub, central base for data standardization, data sharing, distribution, standardization, and ecosystem of the users and the data providers. Right now, the digital platform is very popular in Serbia, and sharing over 3,330 public sector data set, and it's visited by 500,000 unique users monthly, which is very huge for Serbia, and with a population of 7 million, and more than 200 institutions actually participating in this. The geospatial platform shares the several parts. I will not go into details, but we have also for professional users, for mobile application, for REST API, etc. And this is one of the examples how real estate cadastre you can geographically and integrated with all alphanumeric and annotated data linked with each other and publicly available. This is condominium register where you can the responsible bodies can click and check the person here, and to check the responsible person in that building with the phone number, with email, contact details, and so on and so on. What is also very interesting for COVID time, it was a crowdsourcing collaborative work platform. We developed a new mobile application with crowdsourcing functionality, Crowd SDI we call it, which is mobile and desktop. So this is for collaborative, but also for to include citizens, NGOs, and every other users to collect new and update existing data sets. Thanks to all these changes, we managed in 1.5 years to update complete address register. And that was the main achievement for this. But it's not only about address register. We worked with Ministry of Culture for collecting a register of archaeological sites, Ministry of Environment for waste dump sites, and so on and so on. But this is something else. What were the results during the COVID time? Because of this good preparation and good foundation, actually, when COVID-19 pandemic started, the government of Republic of Serbia established two groups to manage, coordinate, and support the responses to the COVID-19 pandemic. Group one was dealing with health and social issues under the Prime Minister's supervision, and Group two was dealing with the economic issue under the supervision of the President of Serbia. And the use of geospatial information and services by both working groups assisted in making better and more informative decisions to monitor the fast changing situation and to decide what measures to be put. Like I mentioned previously about sales price register, but not only these. So that's why with good preparation, good foundation, we became the central part of this. So additional functionalities and tools of the geospatial platform have been developed to respond to the new demands. One of the key tools is spatial temporal analytics and visualization tool. These tools allows for monitoring of COVID spread, monitoring if the positive tested for COVID-19 people and people in isolation are respected and restricted. Another important improvement was integration of Street View, for example, which allows for better preparation for the field work and reaction. Thanks to this collaborative work and the geospatial platform, we mapped together with other bodies in Serbia, schools, nursing homes, social welfare, COVID ambulance, medical institution and infrastructure, and that was the very critical data sets and critical systems for fighting against COVID. All health institutions and health support places were mapped for the purpose of response planning, while general public had a view service on the GeoSerbia geospatial platform. And it was very, very efficient tool for information providing and other things. But there are many issues, systematically issues. The outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic established an immediate need to prepare amendments to the law on the health documentation and records in the field of healthcare, which were not fully aligned with the NSDI framework for disaster risk reduction. Also, we changed our approach for disaster risk management and reduction, and we provided with the new law a new concept of disaster risk management system for risk assessment, risk prevention, and intervention. And the core of this whole system is actually GeoSerbia, this digital platform and whole system that is already established and part of national spatial data infrastructure. We're working with the Ministry of Sector for Emergency Situation, and this will not serve only for pandemic, but also for other hazards like landslides, like firefighters, and so on, and all very important parts of the system. And the DRR is one-stop shop system for all relevant data, and this is something that is noticed that it's urgently needed, and we are starting to work on it. So this is, I think, way forward for our battle with other systems. So thank you on your attention, and thank you for giving me these additional 5 minutes. I hope that I managed to do that. Thank you very much on your attention. Thank you.
Dear Darka, thank you. Thank you on behalf of the participants for sharing your extremely interesting and useful experience. I'm really impressed, I tell you by my heart. Especially I like this thing, the simplified business processes. It was amazing, and also like you show this, it's really great. Serbia's achievements in creating a spatial data infrastructure is impressive. I know that process, because I'm working with re-engineering of process all my life, about 20 years. I'm not 20 years, but I work for this for 20 years. So it's really great. It's really great. The colleagues from Serbia have done a great job in the creation of regulatory framework, organization of interaction with the stakeholders, and currently have a functioning geoportal. So it's work. And it's very good because it's like not only their project or prototype, it's a real working system. And we know as it was before and how it works now, and it's huge results. So thank you very much. We have some questions from Andreas. Darko, can you see the chat?
It's in the question and answer box.
Yeah.
Q&A. It's about the building register. How?
Yeah. The building register. Thank you, Andres, and greetings. So basically, you know, I missed to say that, but we obtained very high resolution satellite images in 2016 to cover whole Serbia. And we tried to do this automatization process for automatic extraction of the footprints of the buildings, but the results were not so good at that time, and we needed some additional manual work, and we managed, I think, with this combination to do it relatively, you know, fast, so several months. And we compared that with our digital cadastre map and digital cadastre plan. And we, during this process with comparison, we exactly calculated all these buildings. And the new legalization process where these data were used for going on the field for inspectors and for this decision making, but also for control from the office. And that was the crucial. And right now, thanks to this experience, we are providing new satellite images, very high resolution satellite images, to see the changes, the monitoring of the changes, to do this. And we are finishing right now. So our ministries, our local municipalities, and our citizens will have data. Right now, these illegal buildings are dead capital. You can't sell or buy, and this is the way how our country tried to force the citizens and others to legalize this. But we are preparing on the national level, to be honest, a new approach based on the, I must say, with UNECE guidelines for formalization of the building. We even changed the terminology because before we saw the UNECE work, it was legalization. Right now it's formalization. So so we are working right now based on these guidelines, and I think that we will finally, with all these tools, technology, and guidelines, very good guidelines from UNECE, we can manage to finish this work that started 20 years ago. Thank you.
Okay, Darko, thank you very much. We need to move on. So thank you, have a nice day. And the next item of our agenda is a panel discussion. So its participants will share with their views on the following questions. The first one is which geospatial services or maybe data sets were in high demand for responding to the pandemic. The second one is what the new services or data sets would support their anti-pandemic efforts. And the last one, but not the least, have any maybe new techniques or services or platforms or processes for interaction and some data exchange between government agencies, as well as maybe not only government agencies, but also business. So between governmental agencies and the government agencies and a business emerged. So let's move on. And now I would like, with a pleasure, to welcome Dr. Hartmut Müller, the Senior Professor for Geoinformatics at Mainz University of Applied Sciences, Chairman of the Commission FREE, the Spatial Information Management, and a board member of International Organization of Surveyors. Mr. Dr. Müller used to be founding director of Mainz University's Institute for Spatial Information and Surveying Technology, and his research interest center on geospatial information management, spatial data infrastructures, and quality of geospatial data. So, Dr. Müller, please, I pass you the floor. Welcome, very welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Elena. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the kind introduction. I followed the presentations here, and it was really good to hear about the use cases that were presented by the speakers. And to be honest, I was not only impressed, but in particular the last presentation, it was not only amazing, the progress that you achieved in the last years, but it was almost unbelievable. So from my point of view. So this is really great, and let me add some thoughts from the international perspective to the questions of this webinar. So the question on existing geoinformation systems and services, I would like to make it a bit broader and say, and I want to name COVID-19 dashboards that are internationally available. I will come back to that in a minute. To the question on the changing requirements, following that a virus does not recognize borders, and the virus travels along with people. So from my point of view, I would say cross-border spatial data infrastructures become more important. And second is real-time data provision becomes more important. And the third point is we have much wider range of users from non-geospatial community, and that's why the access to data and to information to services, easier access becomes more important. And that leads to the question on the further development. Well, if you want to use cross-border SDIs, you need first a harmonization of the content. And that is, when you go to the detail, that is can be a tricky question. And real-time data provision needs then timeliness of the provided content. That is, in the times of a pandemic, it's clear numbers are rising very, very quickly. So you have to react within a short time frame. And well, I already said it, access for a wide range of users needs simple access to data. If you have a look to the World Wide Web, you find hundreds, if not thousands, of dashboards with COVID-19 information. Well, they show first that there is an obvious need for geospatial information. But second, there is little coordinated action. These dashboards show a huge variety of information, content-wise, in different time intervals, on different geographical scales. I have a quote from the Washington Post here that says, case counts are consistently inconsistent. Reporting practices differ from country to country, state to state, even county to county. From a geospatial information management perspective, I think we can all agree that this is an unsatisfying situation. So now what do we have to offer? Well, it's quite clear. The title of our webinar says National Spatial Data Infrastructures, Geospatial Data, Technology, and that describes exactly what we have to offer. We have decades of experience in implementing the SDIs. We have a deep knowledge of geospatial data, and we use up-to-date technologies. So NSDIs, well, I don't want to repeat what was already said, but over the past decades, many well-coordinated efforts have been made in many countries around the world to implement such NSDIs. Now, responses to disasters requires timely coordinated action. In some cases, such as our current pandemic, there is also a need to align information and interventions at the global and the regional level and the supranational level, I mean with that. And so we have to think about, and we have initiatives, regional initiatives available. Let me name the European SDI initiative, INSPIRE, that may well serve as a basis on which to build such frameworks. Geospatial data, okay, we need interoperability and cross-border interoperability. That means definitions and reporting strategies must be aligned. And we need a link to statistical data. Data quality is a big issue. The link to citizen science data must be established. All that what is in particular addressed by the speaker Darko Vucetic from Serbia, the previous presentation. So, and this is a wide field for action. Technology, I would say the technical tools are available. The questions in this domain need to be addressed not so much to the geospatial community, but to the society as a whole. Is society willing to invest in digital infrastructures? Is the political will strong enough to build and maintain such infrastructures? That are questions that go beyond our technical world here. So with that, I would like to stop at this moment and giving back to you.
Okay, thank you, Harmut, very much. So it was very interesting to know your opinion about our topics today, and also it will be very good for sharing your experience, because I see that you are really deep inside in this process and understand very well how it works like for the long period and what we need in the future. So thank you so much for joining us. So now I would like to invite to the panel discussion our next participant. It is Stephen Ramage, Head of External Relations at the Group of Earth Observations Secretariat, visiting professor and the Institute for the Future Cities University of Strathclyde in Glasgow. Sorry if the pronunciation was not very well. I tried my best. And a fellow of the Royal Geographical Society. So Stephen was a director of the first spatial for the 10 years working with the national mapping and cadastre agencies globally. Then Stephen joined on the Open Geospatial Consortium as the executive director before becoming the managing director and at Ordnance Survey International. So, dear Stephen, so please join us, and you are very, very welcome. Are you with us?
After many problems, yes.
Oh, thanks God. So you're welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Is it possible? I had some short slides I wanted to talk through. Is it possible to put them up?
Yes, you can put share screen. Yeah.
Oh, no, there they are. If you can just go back to the beginning. Yeah. So I wanted to talk, I think a lot of what Hartmut just said is very in line with what I wanted to say. But I also wanted to add, I'm from the group on Earth observations, so we're working around the world with about 120 countries looking at Earth observations. And the first question was talking about the different data sets, and really what we've seen a lot is there's a lot of activity around air quality monitoring, around looking at things like heat and wind, and even looking at things like volcanic ash. If you look at Le Soufriere and other things, all of these have an impact on what happens from a disaster perspective and needs the data, the other data, to provide the information supporting. Next slide, please. So I just wanted to, this is what the group on Earth observations is. It's basically made up by countries around the world, UN member states, including many countries, about 35 to 40 countries in Europe, with what are called participating organizations, and these are UN bodies that support our work. So we work on open Earth observations data. So we host a portal with 400 million open Earth observation data information resources. To deliver all of this, we have a work program, and the work program covers agriculture, biodiversity, climate, disasters, energy, forestry, land, you name it. If it's got a link to geography and to Earth observations, we do something in there. So I wanted to give that background before I talk more. Next one, please. So when we talk about Earth observations, we don't just talk about satellite imagery. We're also talking about sensors that can be in, on, around the Earth. So that could be soil moisture, it could be water quality, it could be ocean salinity. But we have to take these different measurements and compare and calibrate using them. Next one, please. So we have a compendium on our website of the different Earth observation activities responding to COVID. And at the moment, there are about 42 or 43 of these activities. And these relate to what Hartmut was talking about, the different dashboards and the different activities that are, in some ways, they're linked to national spatial data infrastructure, but quite often they're not, because they're different communities. And so when Darko talked about, they had the Serbian coordination team, and they had one side doing the health and one side doing the economic activities. It was great to see geospatial sitting in the middle. And that's what we're trying to do here with Earth observations, is have Earth observations feed into all these different activities. Next one, please. So this is a coordinated effort where we have things like working with Indigenous communities, where we've been doing hackathons to bring the data that's available. We have a health community of practice, and that's been looking for things like health facility locations, attribute data that's openly and freely available for government agencies or non-government agencies or civil society organizations, data relating to vulnerable populations with the appropriate security, harmonized data of environmental variables, social policy and health data, and bringing all that together. So next one, please. One of the global ones is if you go to EO dashboard, you have ESA, NASA, and JAXA, the three international space agencies who are working together. For example, looking at rice planting in Asia, looking at global crop monitoring through GeoGlam, the global agricultural monitoring. So it's looking at different things like systems. So we need to think about systems when we're doing this. And one example here is the food system, where we need to ensure the availability and accessibility of food from farm to fork, which our FAO colleagues know all about. So COVID had this impact where there was an abrupt shift in consumer purchasing patterns. There were supply chain disruptions through, limited workforce or surplus or shortage, and there were food security operation impacts. There were things like reduced donations or less volunteers. So the supply chain is a very big part of everything, and the NSDI needs to respond to the supply chain. Next one, please. So work was also done with the Joint Research Centre of the European Commission, for example, in Kenya, where they were impacted by, they had flood that they were already, the impact of flood they were dealing with. Then they had a locust invasion and they had COVID. So they had a real severe number of issues that they had to deal with around the time of COVID. So I think to Hartmut's point about cooperation and collaboration and mainstream digital infrastructure, it's the same from the Earth observation perspective. We want to be able to use all of the data that's available from the national mapping and cadastre agencies with these Earth observation information, and also with other data relating to population and health. Next one, please. So this is just an example of some innovation where China Lawson, the minister in Togo, worked with a number of different parties. They understood that the impact of COVID would immediately hit people who are in very, very low income bands. So these are people who live on less than €2 per day, €2. So it's not even a case of getting food, it's a case of living or dying. So they managed to put together this COVID-19 program, and they got a loan that they used Earth observations to review areas where the roads were paved and the houses had roofs, and other measures to be able to say where the high living area was and the poor people were living. So this is a great example of a very, and then they used a sort of a tool, a sort of a financial giving tool to go out and to give money to people in the low income communities. Next one, please. So that's the summary. I just wanted to say that in terms of the three questions, there was a lot of population related data sites, a lot of health sites, the stuff that we saw from Marina Latreva and from Darko about addresses, about the cadastre, health facility locations, data relating to vulnerable populations, and also moving into using things like mobility data and information from mobile network operators. So a lot of data integration and a lot of need for open standards and for interoperability. Thank you very much.
Dear Steven, thank you so much. I'm really happy that you have a connection right now and you're with us, because the information on programmers and projects carried out by Geo community, it was really great. I would like to comment that open data and technologies, including remote sensing, as well as common standards and infrastructure for geoinformation are great importance to struggle against worldwide disasters such as pandemic COVID-19. And what I see, it was really great presentation, that Earth observation, that data that you represent, and this slide with the geo community response to COVID. This one, I mean, it's really impressive, and you can observe everything in one page. So it's great. So. Thank you so much to join us. I think it's really important thing that you're telling us today, the open data for the benefit of humankind. So it's really great. Thank you so much. So we do not have any questions right now, and I think that I'm really sorry, but this is the end, my colleagues. So let me thank everyone who participated in the webinar for the informative reports and interesting opinions. Geospatial data are available asset for solving government tasks and supporting all sectors of economy. So, however, in addition, they can serve as the glue, making a basic for a more complex information services, examples of which we reviewed today. And therefore, we should not underestimate our role. What I mean the government agencies, experts, international organizations, and significance of our effort, geoinformation services and data can indeed influence the success of solving current problems, as well can enhance the development at the national level and sometimes internationally. So once again, I would say to all of you, thank you, and again say the importance of such a format of interaction between us. We're using webinars today, we're using internet to speak and see each other. But I hope that someday, sometime, and I hope it will be very soon, we can sit in front of each other on the round table and discuss open all our problems and share our knowledges, technologies, and recommendations for how to survive in this difficult world altogether. So let me remind you that the results and conclusions of all that we discussed today in today's webinar will be presented at the 12th session, which held on May 31, so it will be very soon. And I wish all of you healthy days and take care of your families and your colleagues. I wish you happy, healthy, fruitful day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, all of you. Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
Thank
day.
you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Excellent
Thank
webinar. Very good. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.